Hello and welcome to the Monkey Business Podcast from Van Monkey. I'm your host, Adam Baker. In this episode, I talked to Brindley Group corporate sales managers Neal and Richard Bateman. Both Richard and Neal have extensive experience in the corporate and fleet sector. We talk about new market trends, the electric vehicle revolution, and the rise of Maxus. Both Neal and Richard are electric vehicle users and they promote the use of electric vehicles daily. There is perhaps more contention around electric vans than electric cars at the moment, but Maxus have provided a range that many traditional manufacturers are struggling to match. Anyway, without further ado, Richard Bateman, Neal and me.
So I'm Richard Bateman. I've worked for Brindley Garages for the last 9 years this month, and I look after commercial vehicle sales and fleet sales along with my colleague Neal. So we're in a dedicated PDI centre just on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. Is there anything else you need to know about me?
Well, a little bit about your background. So,
about 25 years in the motor trade, mainly with Citroën and Peugeot. Working in a Citroën and Peugeot dealership, and then went into sort of business sales and got very, very heavily involved with vans. So probably 70% of the sales were vans, and then that led me then into sort of Brindley, and we're a multi-franchise group, so we've got 8 manufacturers, so we do cars and vans, so I've got more to sell, so obviously that's better for us individually and obviously for our customers.
Yes, my name's Neal. I work alongside Richard here at the Operations Centre. Been in the industry since 1984, which is an awful long time. Again, that started with in the old days with Peugeot Talbot, so that was predominantly business user based, and been in the industry ever since, and dealt with numerous brands. Been with Brindley's on and off for 20 years. Had a bit of a spell out, but came back to Brindley's, and I've currently been with Brindley's the last 10 years. Going to be 10 years now.
Yeah.
So we offer commercial vehicles with Nissan and with Maxus, and then with multi-brands in cars as well. So between us, we've got quite a bit of experience.
And I mean, you're both sort of from a fleet perspective and background. How do you think the fleet industry differs from just the average car sale?
It's a good question. There tends to be the customers. All customers obviously want a good deal and they want to be looked after well. Probably have to do a bit more research with our customers because there's more, especially with vans, you need to find out what they're doing, what they're carrying, what type of journeys they're doing. And obviously with the evolution of EV, that's even more important because we need to make sure that the tools, the vehicle's going to do the job, the tool's going to be right for them. So range, obviously, and capacity is part of that, really.
How are you seeing? I mean, you mentioned Maxus briefly. When did that partnership form with Maxus?
We came into Maxus quite early on, really. We've been going with Maxus. We'll be in our third year, I think, won't we? Or second or third year, I can't remember. Yeah. But we were in from the early days, so we're a pretty big dealer with Maxus, and we've opened a dealership, a standalone dealership, rather than our sort of operation centre here in Cannon. And we've got new products coming on board. We've got the new pickup coming out, the EV pickup. We've got Me for 9, which is a multi-people carrier vehicle. So the brand's going from strength to strength, really, and they came in it at the right time with the EV product. They've got the range and the product, the numbers of products coming through. So it's going from strength to strength with Maxus.
How do you see? I mean, obviously we've had a lot of the van brands for quite a long time, really. How do you? I think encourage is the wrong word, but how do you show a potential buyer Maxus as a new brand that could be, a potential sale for them?
It's down to demonstration, really, isn't it? It's getting the customer to drive it and appreciate what it can do, explaining the benefits and the downsides to it. It doesn't suit everybody, not at the moment anyway. So it's just going through the whole process of qualifying the customer and making sure that the product that we offer them is suitable for them, really.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I suppose part of the strength of Maxus is the fact that there have been so many supply chain issues with vehicles over the last couple of years, and yet Maxus has been a little bit stronger in terms of supply.
That's a really good point. It definitely won new customers because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, as Neal said, the demonstration of the vehicle is important, and when they see the quality of the e-Deliver 9 panel van and the range, the capabilities of the vehicle compared to the competition, they are streets ahead, really, in my opinion. Some of the European manufacturers, obviously, we supply, but also the range of their vehicles aren't at the same level. So it's education.
Yeah.
It is definitely education, really.
Yeah.
But demonstration is the key.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
And with electric vehicles, obviously, as you mentioned, they're not suitable for everyone. But then, you wouldn't move house with a Fit 500. You have to tailor the problem and solution together. But what misconceptions do you come across with electric vehicles or electric vans in particular?
I think the main one is sort of range anxiety, or how do you charge it, and that. But once you go through the infrastructure and give our advice and show where the charge points are and the infrastructure, which is obviously growing day by day, but it's still, you still have to get the customer to try it and experience it. We both drive electric cars, and we've experienced from the early days range anxiety.
Yeah.
But that's easily overcome once you get into it and you use it, and a journey to Scotland isn't an issue. It's just knowing how to do it, really.
Yeah.
And it is so easy. It is so easy.
Which electric vehicles do you both drive?
We drive Kia Neros, e-Neros. Yeah.
What made you? Was that a specific choice based on that? What made you switch to electric in the first place?
I think we sell the product. I think everything is going electric, so definitely you've got to drive it to experience it to relay that to the customer, really.
Yeah.
It's we could spout all day about how good EVs are, but you've got to experience it yourself to pass that on to the customer.
Yeah.
I think most, if we're talking in general, most people can get into an electric car today and cope quite well without worrying too much about the range. They will obviously worry about range initially because they've never charged an electric vehicle before, but as soon as you're shown and you experience like a rapid charge, things like it's so easy. I mean, the furthest I've been is Southampton, and got down there, charged the car up, came back, not a problem, absolutely loved it, and that sort of doing that got me past any fears. Now I wouldn't worry about going anywhere, really. Just find out where the charging points are and plan your journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, we both enjoy driving it, but there's benefits in kind taxation, benefits for company car drivers, and obviously we're talking vans predominantly, but obviously that's another advantage to us, and we were early into getting the advantage, really, that we don't pay huge amounts compared to diesel drivers.
Yeah.
And we charge on site here, so it's really easy for us.
How do you think after the autumn budget, with the announcement of the increase in benefit in kind, how do you think that will affect electric cars for fleet?
I don't think it will, really. It's we're going that way. It's got to be electric, and the advantages are still huge compared to a diesel or petrol car.
Yeah.
So prices the disparity between the internal combustion engine and EV will get lower, but I don't think it'll put people off at all.
And in terms of actually driving one, what benefits do you see from that side of things? Is it better to drive?
Definitely, if we're talking cars, they're fantastic to drive, so smooth and effortless. The vans are exactly the same. If you drive an e-Deliver 9 Maxus van, it's all automatic. Well, it's a single gear, so you just put it into drive and away you go. They're just so smooth, quiet and effortless. And every driver that's demonstrated one, driven one, thinks they're in a Rolls Royce, really, in comparison to a diesel manual van,
You're
so
driving
much better.
you're driving into a city centre. Let's say Birmingham's the biggest city in the Midlands, and driving to Birmingham every day, and the traffic up the just auto. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And obviously the same with the car, so it just makes driving a pleasure. And if you're a delivery driver and you've got so many stops a day to do, I know I'd rather not be dipping a clutch in and out all the while through traffic. I'd rather be driving an EV proposition. So the feedback's really good.
Yeah.
Whenever we let anybody try them, they're always sort of like full of it, really. Yeah. So.
And without naming the specific clients, what kind of sectors are taking on more electric vans?
It's a wide variety. It's your big corporate bodies, big, you know, companies that you'd come across advertised on television. You'd see it from those companies to the smaller, plumbers, electricians.
Yeah.
It's a widespread. It really is widespread now.
Yeah. And do you think, I mean, there's been a lot of talk of trickle-down electric vehicles, so we saw like DPD taking on quite a few and Amazon taking on a few. How long do you think it'll be until it's more of a sole trader taking on these? Because I mean the outright cost is higher for an EV, but obviously getting the education across of the total cost of ownership. Do you think that there's enough education around that model?
I think that comes down to us to a degree to educate, and I mean it's a natural progression anyway. I think as more more time goes on and we have to go down the EV route, I think the word of mouth will trickle down, and those people that are really anti-change from diesel will subtly sort of see the light, really, and obviously as more and more electric products become available and the range increases and charging stations increase, I think it'll be a subtle progression, and we'll all be electric at some point, or predominantly electric. There may be other a hydrogen fuel cell. We don't know what's happening with that.
Yeah.
That may come on board, but it's exciting times, really. It's as I, Richard and myself, been in the industry a long time, and I don't think we've ever experienced anything like this, have we? It's such an exciting time. Everything is happening very, very quickly, really.
A little too slow in comparison to, I mean, you mentioned Kia and Hyundai were quite quick on the mark, really, especially with like the EV6 and the Ioniq 5. And then you've got new brands coming out of China, and MG, Maxus. Ford were a little bit slower with the e-Transit, and there were a lot of other manufacturers that were also a bit slower. Do you think that was tactical to see what the market was going to do, or do you think that was just not quite cottoning on quick enough with the other?
It's difficult to say, really. You know, it's always sort of political, isn't it, really? But I think just Maxus with the brand and where it's made and access to the lithium, perhaps, you know, is just able to produce the product that much quicker, really. So whether it was tactical, I don't know. It's you know, that's a different story, I think, really. But it's you know, it's certainly something we've enjoyed. We've come to the party early with the product, and you know, we've seen it grow very, very quickly. You know, and as I said, it's going to grow. It's going to snowball very quickly, I think. I mean, with the emission zones around cities, you know, that's expanding obviously in London. More and more companies are just going to be switched on. The light bulb's going to come on and say, we've got to go for electric now. We've got to make the leap, and we've got to go electric now. Otherwise, we're going to be charged a daily cost, which, you know, obviously, you know, people want to avoid, really. So. Yeah. So I think, you know, it's been a slow start, and it's starting to build now, but I think it will snowball quite quickly.
I mean, the automotive world's been hit by quite a few, and other technology sectors have been hit by a lot of supply chain issues. How were Brindley affected by that?
Yeah, we were hit quite heavily, and still are to a degree. We've got lots of product that we're waiting for still, that has been ordered, you know, a long time ago. But we're starting to see it come through now. So hopefully that's behind us now. But it did hit us. But, you know, customers have been patient and have hung on, and you know, it is getting better now.
And some of the delays have actually been with like diesel.
Yeah. To end of a lease, or they just want to buy a new vehicle, what would your advice be to them?
Again, it's down to qualification and just finding out what they need. Yeah. And then, you know, we can offer an electric product and a diesel product, and just compare the two and just see which one's viable for them, really. It's nice now that we've got EV product, which, you know, spreads a wide diversity of products. So we can do tippers, electric now. We've got pickup with Maxus new pickup coming out, small vans, big vans. So, you know, we've got plenty of product to offer people as well. So.
You get, I assume you get more interest in electric vehicles because they're new, but is that matched by orders?
Well, yeah, we've done very well. You know, obviously with electric, we've still got a order bank of diesel vans. Yeah. But if I give you, for instance, we've got electric vehicles in stock here now. So, talking about supply chain problems, we've actually, you know, ordered in advance. We've got vehicles that we can put people into now. So, that going back to sort of Maxus supply, for example, we've been able to capture that supply and put people into vehicles a lot quicker. So, yeah, it is qualification, it is education. At the end of the day, somebody might need something. Do van customers always plan their purchase? No, they don't. They'll maybe wait until something breaks and then they want to change it. And obviously the diesel supply chain issues and supply chain issues in general have hurt that type of customer, because they might be able to go out and buy a used vehicle when they really wanted a new one. But yeah, we've got some electric vehicles in stock that we can get your customers into, really. So,
and the price disparity is getting narrower.
Mm-hmm.
We've still got the OLEV grant on electric vehicles, which is £5,000. So that helps. There's discounts there on the product. So it's getting better, but it's a little bit different with the electric product, that it is more qualification, and there's always that hesitation from the customer. What am I getting into, because it's new. Yeah. The default was always a diesel product before, so it's something new. So we have to do our job to explain the benefits and features and how things work to the customer, and make so that they can make an informed decision whether it's for them or not, really.
I suppose it's the same principle for any new product, isn't it, really? But this is a whole new range of product in a different, do you have many questions around charging from an infrastructure perspective? Will I be able to charge this? I
think it's showing them, isn't it, really? If you go on any of the apps, ZapMap or InstaVolt, which is one of our favourites, isn't it? That the infrastructure is there and it's growing, but if you just explain and show, just go onto one and you can see that there's 6 charging stations there, one's in use. This is how you do it. It's quite easy to explain, really. But we like the InstaVolt one because they tend to be sort of next to a McDonald's or a KFC or something like that, really. So,
there's an added benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, if you're planning your journey, if you've got to go up to the north or the south, you've got to have a stop at some point. Yeah. So you just plan your journey around a stop for somewhere to eat, somewhere to have a coffee, a toilet break, but you plan it where there's a charging station as well. So. It works very well.
If you rapid charge, like I was saying when I went to Southampton, there was a KFC next, so I popped in there, but I put it on the car on rapid charge. 30-40 minutes later, I got enough range to get back home to Wolverhampton. So
you and the car.
Quite right, yeah. So it was a win-win. So yeah, it's actually been fun learning about this, because we've been on that journey. 9-10 years ago, we'd probably only got the Nissan Leaf, really, that was an electric vehicle, and the Nissan ENV 200 van, which at the time had a limited range, and sort of Nissan have obviously grown massively and bringing out, and it's a new Town Star just coming out now, and there's an EV version of that and a petrol engine. Better ranges, better charging. So we've been on that journey, so we can pass on that experience, really.
What are your favourite electric vehicles and at the moment, and most excited about coming next year or in a couple of years' time?
Favourite one at the moment, if it's a car, it would probably be the Kia EV6, really. I think that's
fantastic.
That's a beautiful, modern-looking vehicle.
Yeah.
But under the skin, they're all good. They're all smooth. They're all quiet and quite quick, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes they feel perhaps too quick. It's but no, they're great to drive. Mm-hmm. And I say it's passed on down the vans, really. I think what I'm looking forward to is the pickup, because pickup was a big thing for us with Mitsubishi L200. We were big with Nissan Navara, and obviously those have gone. Bringing on an electric pickup is really exciting, and the Maxus one is the first one to hit the market. So it'll be interesting to see, how that takes off, really. Mm. I think we'll be doing very well with that.
How do you? What do you think the idea was from Mitsubishi and Nissan to pull those pickups, and Mercedes as well with the what was that? The X Class.
Yeah, that was a copy of
The Navara.
Navara anyway. I don't know. Pickups were obviously utility sort of vehicles, but a lot of them were used as leisure vehicles as well. They were an opt out from people to avoid benefit in kind costs really, because they're classed as a commercial vehicle. So there's two sides to it really, but how many people needed a 4x4 four-wheel drive capable vehicle to do what they did? Very, very few really.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a forest or that type of thing, it wasn't needed. So our electric pickup that's coming out is going to be rear-wheel drive. I believe there will be an all-wheel drive that will come out at some point. But I think there's going to be a big market for that.
I mean, there's other across the pond. There's other electric pickup trucks which are arriving from Ford. So do you think it'll be a growing market?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah, we did very well with pickups, didn't we? And when Nissan and Mitsubishi both sort of pulled out the UK, that did sort of hurt us really, because we were so sort of set up to do that, and all the accessories that come with it for the drivers. So we've really been looking forward to having an EV pickup come, and it's due any time now really. So it's great for us going into the new year with the products that we'll have available that you can have right away.
Yeah.
Going back to that new product and availability, we've got vehicles coming, so and we'll have a demonstrator so people can try it.
Yeah, including myself, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, not a problem. We hadn't long been in here. We used to be in a dealership sort of setting, and then we've moved to a purpose-built preparation centre, PDI centre. So he could see that we could help his customers, and obviously, we've had built a long and strong relationship with him through commercial vehicle and cars. And because of the range of manufacturers we've got 8 manufacturers in the group. It's a one-stop shop for him really, for a lot of his customers. And we've done networking events with him since with his customers, so support him wherever we can really.
And how's that business relationship? How has it evolved over the time that you've been working with Carl?
Well, I guess trust. It's like any relationship, isn't it? You sort of build the relationship, and he, we'll put vehicles into his customers that want to try. So if we go to electric, he knows that we can come to us for certain vehicles to try out. The customer gets that good feeling about the product, and then it's a lot easier for him to sell that customer the right products for their
partnership, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Partnership.
Yeah, and that's key, isn't it? If he can trust us and we trust him, then everything becomes a lot easier.
We've got these Kia Niros. We've got the only 2 new ones. We've only found out the other day that it's got a thing called V2L. So you actually use the battery on your vehicle to run other things.
All right.
So you can plug your electric lawnmower into it. You can plug a microwave or a kettle. So that's exciting, because your cars, your vans of the future will be a battery electric storage centre, if you like. So what surplus you have in your battery, you can perhaps use at home.
Yeah.
So obviously with the cost of living and the cost of electricity and gas, it's a concern for everybody, isn't it, really? So if you can store energy, particularly if you can get it from solar, and store it in your vehicle, or a home battery storage system, you've got that on tap to use for, perhaps something like a Forester, perhaps, or something like that. If you've got that in a pickup or a van, you're rather than using your petrol chainsaw, you plug an electric one in instead.
Into your van,
So it's wide possibilities, isn't it, really?
Change is coming. Let's get on with it and get it done.
Yeah.
And obviously we can help them help your customers sort of educate themselves, really. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, cost is going to come down. I was reading about the battery production, and there's VW, I think, said that their battery costs would pretty much align with internal combustion engine by 2025, 2026, and then theoretically get cheaper. So do you think that'll be the point where we see a mass move?
I don't know whether it would be mass. I think it's
What are the benefits, would you say, of leasing as opposed to outright purchase for an electric vehicle?
I think the biggest advantage is the fact that the leasing company takes the residual value risk on a contract hire agreement. So from you as an owner-operator, you can enjoy the benefits of the new technology, the reduced fuel costs, but you know that once you've paid the rentals and that 2, 3, 4 year agreements come to an end, you can hand the vehicle back. Why I think that's advantageous is the fact that, as we've just been discussing, technology is moving forward at quite a pace, and there'll be bigger and better batteries and quicker charging times in the future. So, you know, it's a bit like your mobile phone. You wouldn't really use a 10-year-old mobile phone because things change so quickly that with phones. So it's the same thing with electric vehicles. Really, let somebody else take the residual value risk, and you enjoy all the benefits, and then just plan the next purchase. 9 months before you're going to change, you know exactly what you want, and you can get it in time.
So planning as well is key when looking for a new vehicle.
Yeah, you got a line in the sand. You know when you need to change the vehicle, and you can include a maintenance package. They don't need a lot of servicing anyway. Really, that's another benefit. There's no oil to change or things like that. So you've got you're making savings there. But yeah, you can plan your next purchase in advance and get it right again. Yeah. That's what a lot of our customers benefit from, don't they?
Yeah. The other thing we were mentioning maintenance there, the thing with it's a lot less because Richard says there's a lot less working parts on electric. Yeah. So really, you've only got sort of brake materials to change. Really, there's no fluids as such apart from washer bottle and some have cooling on the batteries and things like that. But with the way the electric works, you have regenerative braking as well. Yeah. So invariably, you could probably take some brake pads to 60,000 miles because we've just changed our company vehicles and we had Neros before, and you don't get any brake disc dust showing on the wheels because you don't use the brakes. You just slow down, and the regenerative braking just slows you down. So. That's a big thing as well, really.
It does make you a better driver.
Yeah,
it does that regen braking. You can just ease off. People drive diesels to kick that turbo in, and they can sort of thrash diesels a bit, and obviously that shows up in the servicing at some point because you are going through brakes and stuff. But instant torque on an EV vehicle, so that straight off the bat, if you pull away from the lights or from an island, you've got instant torque. And as Neal said, with the regen braking, you just ease off the accelerator. It's so easy. And auto gearbox just makes life a lot easier to drive.
Yeah. If there was an alien visiting, if you had to explain an internal combustion engine, a series of controlled explosions which made you go forwards, compared to motors and batteries as a system, it would be so much simpler, really.
Yeah. You'd be there all day with a chart and trying to explain it and thinking, is that right? But it's so much simpler with an electric that there's just an electric motor with a battery and it's connected to the wheels. It's just so easy, really, just so simple.
Yeah. All right, well, there we go. Fairly painless, I hope. I'd like to thank both Neal and Richard for taking the time to talk to me for what was a very enjoyable and enlightening conversation. Now, I also got the opportunity to meet a very special member of the team, which is Bobby, the security cat.
Do you know what? He's one of the most photographed
It is.
It's everybody who comes, all the visitors, you get all these people come from like, you know.
But if we do stay on topic for just a moment, I'd like to know what you think about Maxus and electric vans in general. Could it be an option for you? Have you considered it? Why not let me know what you think in the comments. So, thanks for listening or watching to the Monkey Business Podcast from Van Monkey. I'm Adam Baker, and I'll see you next time.